sink locations in the bathrooms. Like they wanted one inside. Apparently there's like preschool regulations. You have to wash it so many times if it's on the outside of the bathroom, or if it's on the inside of the bathroom, you don't have to do it. I mean, there's little things like that, but I think, you know, I think it looks great though. I think this is a successful space. I love the natural, you know, lighting and.
And we showed the sink on the outside because it's more of a control point.
Yeah, but there's apparently some weird preschool regulations about that. Andrea told me that. I liked all the proposed like storage, you know, things. I mean, I know that's really early on, and I mean they're just pictures for influence right now. But I thought, you know, if you have space, it seems like teachers need every square inch of it.
I think we all appreciated that you all know the fact that a full wall of storage at minimum is going to be important. Obviously, the teachers will be involved in figuring out the kinds of storage that they want, but just acknowledging that from whatever, you know, it's almost 24 feet of storage with linear space. That's there.
Because a lot of the comments that we did in our focus groups were how these preschool classrooms are broken up by zones. So we were trying to define storage and a place for a teacher over here, have some marker and some tag and some whatever display over here, and then you've got the full open classroom to use it how they want to use it.
These were general designs for, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I've jumped way ahead.
Okay. K1 classrooms, there really wasn't a lot of feedback that I heard from folks other than say, same sort of idea, love the idea of storage, love the idea of natural light, love the idea of somehow making sure that the windows were student accessible, whether it's because it's a storage unit that students are sitting on they can see over, or they're low enough that if you're going to have windows, that'd be it. Control for direct sun, making sure that, I forget what y'all call them, that stick out the front. They're not really shades, but that bounces the light up to the ceiling.
Light shelves.
Right, light shelf, thank you. And y'all talked about how, I think y'all even had some simulations as to this is what it would look like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or this is what 11 o'clock.
You can see that window there, that the lights hit the ceiling above because it's coming in at the one point and popping back up. So there's a shelf on the outside to block it, a shelf on the inside to direct it. Yeah, a little bit, you can see a little bit above, but it's kind of like.
And we talked about, I guess, 2 parts with the main entrance, and maybe this is where you're going with it. One, there's going to be what we owe you guys as a meeting amongst administrators and school staff to figure out if all the flow of space works.
That's correct. Yes.
Which we'll be doing likely either early in the winter break or something, because I want to be able to have some time where folks aren't rushing to other spots to really trace all that down. But I think in general, most folks are really excited about the multi-purpose booth spaces for small group instruction or eating opportunities for kids.
Yeah, and I really liked the fact that you talked about being able to walk in the main entrance and see into that space, because right now it's not a good, you know, just first impression. So I like that you're opening that up.
Yeah, I think that looks really good, except the only thing I was concerned about, I went to Hogsett the other day and walked around. I just wondered how noise would come from there, and whether, like, when you're having, you know, lunchroom time and stuff like that. Granted, there's no sound buffers in there whatsoever right now, but like if that would be, you know, absorbed, or like whether that would make it noisy into the main entrance or main area or not. It may not. It just was a concern. And then I remember way back when we were visiting schools, like there was one school we went to that said they had, I don't remember, they were talking about lockdown or safety. Like, is there a safety issue for having like that open of a space? Like, I think they said, I don't know, it was more that they had glass windows and they had to add blinds to their glass windows because it was a safety concern. It was when we were in Jessamine County, and they said they had to add all these things because there's like safety measures with the early
compartmentalized classrooms.
Yeah.
Like if you're walking in, you can go left or you can go right.
Right.
If there is an emergency situation, we try to account for having doors there that those can lock down. So if there is ever an issue to block off the school, you can do that. You can also do that with the cafeteria, just by adding doors, but they can stay open all the time.
I just didn't know if that was something, you know, if something major was going on in there, if we would need to close that.
Yeah, we could definitely look into that.
But otherwise, I thought it was really neat in those booths. I thought were good. I liked the ones that looked like houses personally.
Yeah, those are very interesting, because that can also provide some sound absorption as well.
Yeah.
Whatever the material those are in, that can kind of start to absorb sounds that comes from that cafeteria.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was wondering too, is about noise possibly. And then I like the fact the booths are open. I think some kind of roofing on them. I mean, how tall are we looking at on ceilings in that building?
On the cafeteria, it's
It's-
about at least 14 to 16 feet.
Yeah.
I think they had talked about though having some sort of closure or something that you could close them off if they needed it for private space for like intervention or something as well.
And really, the area where we're showing those booths as well, the ceiling can be lower. So when you're coming through that space, when you kind of help dampen that sound, but when you pass through that, the ceiling jumps up.
So we would need for that space to function as small group instruction during their lunch period.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's all different kinds of cubicles or booths that can be used that can be blocked off for more private conversations, or be open for, group conversations or things like that.
How many of those were we talking about?
We were showing about 4 to 6.
I wonder if there's need to have some of those in the cafeteria for the teachers or something, because I think, that would be a good place for them to get to eat as well and, be in I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about a small group instruction during the lunch, you kind of wonder, well, are they going to be all used during the lunch period with a door closed on, or are they going to be truly for lunch, or a special type reward, like maybe to get to eat with the teacher and, without instruction, just to.
Right. Our intent was to use it for both.
Right.
Have the availability for both.
But if lunch goes on from 10,
I know.
it just, there's
But
a
then,
lot of day.
then that's the hard thing, is are
Yeah.
they reserved for instruction or
I know.
special lunch periods? But that's not for us to
No.
decide.
If you remember,
We
they
just
also
like the
designed,
booths.
Yeah.
it also designed an outdoor eating space, which is, I could point to, which doesn't
Yeah.
exist on this drawing. So hopefully there's some different ways to give folks a different experience besides just the general cafeteria. Matt, what other components are key for us to discuss and weigh in on in regards to the developmental design?
Well, I think to get to our next milestone with KDE, we just need to be able to land on what the building form is, so we can start to get our structural engineer involved, because they have some drawings that have to be part of that design development. So it furthers along our conversation with our mechanical and electrical. So really it just comes down to the interior spaces. We can still work on those. I think it's important that we have a conversation about the administration before the design development.
I think the actual footprint,
Yeah.
I like it.
So really, yeah, that's
Sure.
all we're really to get to our next milestone.
Okay. So what I'd expect to see after next is that we'll have that conversation on our end, be able to provide feedback to you as to what works and doesn't as far as the flow of general peopling.
Yeah.
Then that way, then I'm assuming as you guys then take this feedback and work it through, you might have some updated images for us to look at.
Yeah.
Which then we would want to plug back in probably sometime also between now and January 8th to not have that. If January 8th is our deadline, we're going to need another conversation. So there's likely a special call meeting in our future, probably sometime in the latter half of the winter break, that we'll need to look at some dates and times, or early in January, where we can come back with the architects and have them walk us through, here's what we've heard, here's what we've created, and this is still in line with what we're thinking.
Yeah, because the next things that we want to show you is one option that picks up the comments that we've had, start to implement the site discussions we've had. So it's a smaller amount of information, but it's starting to kind of funnel that down.
Other words of advice from us, from your projects, that you think that, boy, I really wish that districts or boards understood that.
No, I mean, I
Here's the one place they always screw up, and darn it, they do it every time. I wonder if I could ever get a group that doesn't.
No. advice on that. I mean, I'm here to try to show you what you guys are looking for, so I want to work off of the comments that you have, so.
I think this has been great. It's always great to actually get in and to see, you know, how things are starting to piece together, and so I think that's what, yeah, it's the fun part.
Okay. Well, I think we can take that information and get some more images for you.
Okay, thanks, man.
That's
Very much.
great. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve all the consent items as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, nobody from the public this evening? No executive session? All right.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?